Okay. I think we by mistake finished early yesterday. We'll start from Vav Amud Aleph. Starting from the Vav Amud Aleph. Talking about from Vav Amud Aleph, we'll start from the Sabbath of Yehuda. Okay, so we said yesterday how much of things that the people of Yericho used to do. I'm sure Yericho, the people of Yericho used to have a whole bunch of different minhagim. One of the minhagim was that that they would cut the omer, they would cut the wheat before the omer, meaning they weren't makbid on waiting for the omer to be bought to cut the wheat. They would cut it even before they bought the carbon. So Rabbi Yehuda said that is a big problem. And since that's a big problem, he wasn't happy with it. He said, Chacham are not happy with this thing. Ask the Gemara on the bottom of Nevavim with base. Nevavim Dalal, sorry, the last three, the third line from the bottom. The Sabbath Rabbi Yehuda. Ask the Gemara. The Sabbath Rabbi Yehuda, you're telling me that according to Rabbi Yehuda, that which the people of Yericho cut the wheat wasn't, Chacham weren't happy with it. But now we learn the Mishnah, the people of Yericho, they would cut the Omer, and Chacham were happy with it. Of a goatchin if the but they not only cut the wheat before the Omer, they would bundle the wheat before the Omer. And that, Chacham weren't happy with it. But even if Chacham weren't happy with it, they didn't. Chacham weren't happy with it, they didn't protest against it. So we have two things. The Mishnah says that which they would cut the wheat before the Omer, that was okay, and that which they would bundle the wheat before the Omer wasn't okay. But we learn in the Mishnah clearly that cutting the wheat before the Omer was okay according to Chacham. So how can Rabbi Yehuda say in another brisa that it wasn't okay to cut the wheat before the Omer? Answers the Gemara, top of Navbeis and Navav Medeis, Man Shamaslei the Amar Michu v'lei Michu. Who's the one that says? Who's the one that decided on which in Mishnah? Who's the one that quotes that says that some things, the three things Chachamim protested, and three things they did Chachamim didn't protest? Is Rabbi Yehuda, meaning who's the time of the Mishnah? The time of the Mishnah is Rabbi Yehuda. Uktani, and in the same Mishnah we say, Kotzim Mitzvah Chachamim. In the same Mishnah we said that they used to cut the wheat, and Chachamim were happy with it. V'letamei Hani Arba Hava. According to you, there wasn't three things. The same Mishnah that says that there were three things Chachamim were not happy about, and then the Mishnah lists four things. So it must be that there's something wrong with the brisa. So minus tzira, meaning the brisa anyway doesn't make sense. Why doesn't the brisa make sense? Because the brisa first tells us that there was three things weren't happy about, and then the brisa says there's the extra thing. Then the brisa lists four things. So how that doesn't make sense? It must be that one of those things somehow didn't fit into the right category, and it must be that the ksira, cutting the wheat, were happy with it. But the problem is bundling the wheat. That was the problem, and that's why it's not a question from the price. I think why it goes further, Muvavim based further by the two dots on the top. The Gemara said that one of the minhagim from the Anshe Yericha was that matilin gamzir shal hekdesh shal charuf shal shikma. They would say that if you have branches from a carob tree or from an oak nut tree, then the branches, the fruit that grows from the branches is okay. Even though you have a tree that's hekdesh, meaning even though the grandparents will makdish a tree, the makdish said that this tree should be hekdesh, but the people of Yericho said that after a few years, then the carobs that grow from the tree are not hekdesh anymore. Why? Because Amor, they would say, Aviseino leikdisho ala keres. The anu natir gamzir shal hekdesh. Our fathers, what did they makdish? What did they say when the tree is hekdesh? When they said the tree was hekdesh, they didn't mean the whole tree is hekdesh. They meant to say the tree stump or the trunk is hekdesh. But the things that grow from the branches are mutter. Therefore, they would eat the carobs, the shachar, the shashikma, they would eat the carobs even though it came from a hekdesh tree, because they said that they only makdish the stump, they won't makdish the thing that grows from the actual tree. And we're dealing with things that grew after they were makdish, meaning if someone was makdish a whole tree, obviously the whole tree is mutter. What if after he was makdish, he took all the carbs and brought it to Beis Hamikdash, and then new carbs grew? So the people of Yericha said, and those new carbs are not hekdesh anymore. Why? Because the Sabri Lakman Amad Ein Mila B'Gidulin. They say that the answer Yericha went according to the opinion that with things that grow from a tree, there's no such thing as Meila, meaning you're able to have benefit from things that grow from Gidulin of Hekdesh. You can't have benefit from Hekdesh itself, but things that grow from Hekdesh, you're able to have benefit from, in our case, carobs. You're able to have benefit from carobs, even though they're growing from a tree that's from Hekdesh. So if so, why did the Rabbanon make a protest against the people of Yericha? Because the Gemara says, "When Rabbanon said, Rabbanon held the Meila leka Yisura, the Meila leka, that which you said you're able to, you're able to have benefit, doesn't mean you're able to have benefit from the tree. It means that if you do have benefit from the carobs, then you won't have to pay. But Isura Meika, but there's still an Isur to have benefit from it. And that's what the machlekes between the people of Yericha and Chacham. The people of Yericha said that if there's no Meila, then you're able to have benefit from it also. Chacham said that even though there's no Meila, it's still us to have benefit. Going further, quoting from the Mishnah, we said that one of the things the people of Yericha did was they would make holes in their fence, so that the poor people could come in on Shabbos and take fruit from their fence, from their field. So the Gemara goes into this case. Amar Ula, Amar Reb Shimon Lakish. Ula said the name of Reb Shimon Lakish. Machlekes b'shem achpeides. This whole machlekes, meaning if it's mutter to take fruit from a tree of Shemitah, is only regarding dates. What do you mean dates? Dates are at the top of the tree. Why? Because the Abana Sabri, in other words, you have dates. The tree, the palm tree, the way it works is that the dates fall down. Suddenly they fall to the bottom. Suddenly they fall down into branches. So what if you have dates that fell into the branches of the tree? So can you take those dates on Shabbos or not? So Abana and Sabri, no, they said you can't take them. Because Gazin and Shema Yalav Yitlish, we're scared that since you're going to be climbing on the branches of the tree, maybe you're going to come and uproot a date from, separate a date that's still growing, and that's the Issa Date Isa. Therefore, Rabbanan said that you can't even climb, you can't take any dates from the tree on Shabbos. But the people of Yericha held, we don't hold of this Gzeda. We don't hold that if someone's going to go on a tree, it's eventually going to come and be tailish from the tree. These dates are separated anyway. He's just coming and collecting them from the tree. But if you have dates which are on the floor, or dates which are at the bottom of the tree, so he doesn't have to climb onto the tree to get them, everyone agrees that it's mutter, because there's no gzedi maybe going to climb on the tree, because the dates are maybe going to be tailish from the tree, because you're not even climbing on the tree over here. The dates are already at the bottom of the tree, and therefore it's mutter. Amalei Rava said, how can you say that it's mutter to take dates from a tree on Shabbos and Yom Tif? Well, muksa, they're muksa. Why the muksa? Because Erev Shabbos, when Shabbos came in, these dates were still on the tree. And since the dates were still on the tree when Shabbos came in, they were inaccessible to you. So now that they fell down on the tree, they're muksa. So how can you carry them? If you're going to tell them, since it was already edible, meaning since it was already reachable for ravens, meaning the birds could come in on the tree and eat them. So since it's mutter for the ravens, it's mutter, it's not muksa for humans also. I mean, in other words, even though it's also for the human right now to go on the tree and take them on Erev Shabbos, on Shabbos, because on Erev Shabbos they were not in his mind because they were still on the tree. But even though they weren't in his mind, it was still accessible for ravens. So maybe since it was still accessible for ravens, in his head, he's saying since it's still edible, maybe one day, they'll be edible for him also. So if you're going to tell me that, so we're going to ask him this rule. If we have a rule that something which is edible for a human it's still muksa for a dog, I mean, if you have food that you have set aside for yourself, you can't go feed it to the dog because you have to have special kavanah to make the food into dog food. It's not because we learn in the Mishnah. The Buddha says, if you have food that wasn't an avail on Erev Shabbos, meaning it was still an animal, and then the animal died on Shabbos, so asura, it's also to feed the animal to a dog. Why? The fish animal namuchan, because it wasn't mutter on Erev Shabbos. If you have an avail, which on Erev Shabbos wasn't a nevela yet, and it's also to use that nevela on Shabbos. Muchan la'evin have a muchan adam. You're telling me that if something is on a tree, and just because a raven could eat it, it means that a human can eat it? Doesn't make sense. So the Gemara answers, Amalei in. The answer is that it's true. That what? Muchan la'adam le'ev muchan le'klav. Regarding a man and a human, a man and a dog, even though if a person has an animal on Erev Shabbos and it's not an avela yet, it didn't become an avela, and he's able to go on Shechter and eat it, but he didn't Shechter and eat it. So on Erev Shabbos it was muchan for a person, but it wasn't muchan for a dog because it wasn't an avela yet, so he wouldn't have fed it to the dog. The chol midi, the chazel inish lemaksadim midaite. Muchan la'evin have a muchan la'adam. Chol midi the chazel inish daite eloi. Regarding an avela, regarding something which you're going to feed to the dog. So since eventually you're going to feed it to the dog, so then you never thought about it. You thought that you're going to give it to the dog. Mashenkin, regarding these fruit, you didn't not think about these fruit because since they're already edible, in other words, they're 100% edible for ravens, and there's a chance that the ravens could bring them down, or they eventually could reach you. So Erev Shabbos, you never had a complete set aside. It wasn't out of your mind not to think about these dates, and therefore you're able to eat the dates on Yom Tiv. Said the Gemara further, Ravin, Amar Rav Shimon Lakish. When Ravin came to the town, Rav Shimon Lakish said, he told him like this: Machlekes b'Shalbein Akipah. The machlekes of Rabbanan and Anshe Richa, if you could take dates on Shabbos or not, is speaking about the dates that are Ben Akipin. What do you mean Ben Akipin? We said before, Ben Akipin is the dates which are the bottom branches. You don't have to climb onto the tree to get the dates. There's dates at the bottom of the tree. So the dates at the bottom of the tree, then there's a machlekes if you can take them on Shabbos or not. Why? The Rabbanan holds muchan la'ervim le'ev muchan la'adam. Just because it's mutter for a raven, it's just because ravens or birds could have eaten it there, it could have eaten it on the tree. It doesn't make it mutter for you, because for you, in order for you to eat it, you would have had to climb on the tree on Erev Shabbos and take the dates from there. That fact that you didn't do that means you weren't thinking about the dates. If you weren't thinking about the dates, so you can't use them on Shabbos. So that's what Rabbanan said. You can't even dates which are at the bottom of the tree, you cannot take them because they're muksa. But the people of Anshe Richa held muchan la'evim have a muchan la'adam. If it's already mutter, if it's muchan for birds, meaning if it's muchan for animals, then it's muchan for a person also. A person, it's okay for a person to eat it also. But if you have dates which aren't on the bottom of the tree, you have dates which are at the top of the tree, if it hakal asur, everyone holds it asur. Why? Because gazina and shemayalav yitzesh begezer, maybe it's going to go on the top of the tree and uproot and detach some birds from the tree, some dates from the tree, and that's Issa Dedaisa. So we have complete opposite opinions. First opinion mentioned before was that the machlekes of Anshe Richa and Chachamim is regarding the fruit at the bottom of the tree. The fruit at the top of the tree, sorry. The fruit at the top of the tree is machlekes. Can you take them or not? Even though the dates are already detached from the tree, they're stuck in the branches on the top. Like Chachamim, you can't climb in the tree. You can't climb in the tree and take the dates because it's Xeda. Maybe you cannot prove the dates. Mashenkin, Anshe Richa said that we're not guys this is Xeda, and therefore you're able to climb in the tree and take the dates. But if it's at the bottom of the tree, everyone agrees that's mutter. You don't have to climb in the tree. It's one opinion. Another opinion is not. Machlekes of Anshe Richa and Chachamim, if you can take the dates on Shabbos or not, everyone agrees that if it's at the top of the tree, it's also to take them because you're climbing the tree. And climbing the tree, everyone agrees in making Xeda that you might uproot, you might take off some dates from the tree. So when is machlekes? Machlekes is the dates at the bottom of the tree. Rabbanan hold that it's muksa. Why is it muksa? Because on Erev Shabbos it was still on the tree. And Anshe Richa hold that it's not muksa, and therefore you're able to eat the fruit from the bottom of the tree. But if it's at the top of the tree, everyone agrees that's awesome. Said the more further. Another meaning the people of Anshe Richa would do is they would take peah from vegetables. Says the Gemara, have a nice peah layad. They would take peah from vegetables. Ask the Gemara, the last go Anshe Richa. How the time the people of Richa didn't hold what we learned in the Mishnah. We learned in the Mishnah it says we said a rule regarding peah is it's anything which is edible and it's guarded. We're going to see what this means in a second. And it grows from the ground. And when you cut it from a tree, you cut it all at the same time. as opposed to a tree which you take each fruit separately. Or machnisa lekiyim, and it also has to be a food that's brought into the house that could stay for a while. So if something has all these things, meaning all these conditions, it's edible, it goes on the ground, it's guarded, we will see them in a second, it's taken out from the tree in the same time, and you bring it into your house for a while, then chayiv b'peah, it's chayiv in peah. Now, kol sho'echel, that which the Mishnah says, anything which is edible, prat mitzviche sitim v'koitza, is to exclude things which aren't edible, like weeds and thorns and things like that, or things which aren't 100% ripe yet, so they're not edible, so it's parted from peah. V'nishmar, that which the Mishnah said has to be guarded. What does that mean? Prat lehefker is to exclude hefker, to tell us that if something is not guarded, if you have a field that doesn't belong to anyone, so then it's not chayiv in peah. V'gedulim minaretz, the fact that which the Mishnah said it has to grow from the ground is to imply prat lekmeim or pitzres, is to exclude mushrooms and fungi that doesn't grow from the ground, it comes by itself, not planted. V'likitase ka'achas, that another condition in peah is it has to be taken off the tree in the same time. What does that mean? Prat v'te'enim, to exclude dates, which are not taken off the tree in the same time, because it takes a long time for each one to ripen, and therefore you take them off in separate times, and therefore it's parted from peah. Machnisa l'kiyo, or has to be something which is there that stays fresh for a while. Prat liyadek is to exclude vegetables. Vegetables don't stay good for a while, and therefore you only have a peah of something which stays good for a while, as opposed to vegetables which are parted from peah because they go bad very quickly. So the question is, why Anshe Richay would take peah from vegetables if we have a clear mission that says that we don't take peah from vegetables? Answers the Gemara, Amar of Yehuda Amarav. Yehuda Amarav said, Hacha b'rashi lefasis askinon machnisei lekim. We speak about a certain type of vegetable, which are the tip of a turnip. Right, there's a vegetable of turnip, and it stays very good for a long time. So that's the vegetable they would use for peah. They would take peah from, because since a turnip stays good for a very long time, so therefore they said that you're chayiv in peah. So the question is, if it stayed good for a long time, why does Chachamim say they're not chayiv in peah? Because the only way it stays good isn't by itself. It stays good if you pickle it in juice, then it stays good. So then we have machlekes. So the argument whether it's chayiv in peah is, what's the svara of the argument? Marsa, one opinion holds machnisa lekim adei davar achein shmei kiyum. If it stays good, even though it stays good through something else, it stays good through pickling, it stays good through liquid, or it stays good through being together with other food, that's still counted as staying good, and therefore it's chayiv in peah. That which just stays good through something else isn't counted as kiyum, isn't counted as staying good. It's only staying good because of a different substance. Since it's staying good because of a different substance, then we do not count that as food that's good, that has a long duration of being fresh, and therefore it's pater from peah. We'll stop over here at the bottom of Daf Nun Vav, the base, all the way at the bottom at the two dots.